Did you know that an AI API like OpenAI not only has a limit on the context window, how many tokens, roughly 3 to 4 characters you can input into your prompt? That's getting more and more insignificant each day as context windows get larger and larger. But there is also a limitation which I couldn't find documented in the documentation and found in this more obscure place on the internet, which is that there is a limit on how many messages you can send. So it isn't about the size of the, or how many words are in each message. It is that you can't send a list of messages that exceeds 2048. And this came up because I was helping one of my Bubble coaching clients, and they've got an app where there's lots of back and forth conversations between their users and an AI, and their users have hit this limit of slightly over 2,000 messages. So here is how you can send only X number of recent messages, like 10 most recent, 100 most recent messages. And it's a little bit confusing, complicated to do in Bubble, but I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. So let's go ahead and look at our Bubble app. And whether you're using chat completion or the new responses API, I'm not covering that here, but at some point you'll need to get a list of all of your messages and you'll need to format it something like this. Again, there will be some variation here depending on whether which API you're using, but the key bit here is to use format as text and then get the expression for each item in your list of messages in the format, in the JSON syntax that the AI API requires. And here's where it gets a little bit frustrating based on the tools that Bubble gives you, which is that if I backspace, in fact, let me go right the way back. First thing I'm going to do is right click, not on the blue, but on the white text and go copy. Now this whole expression is on my clipboard because I'm going to need that because I'm going to get rid of it. Not all that way. Bring back, there we go. So I've got my search for messages, and like I say, this is where it gets slightly annoying based on the limitations that Bubble gives you, which is that you can say items until, so we can say items until 10, and then based on my messages being sorted by creation date, I'm then showing my first 10 messages. That's not what I want though. I want at least my last 10 messages. Okay, so what if I just reverse the order? Well, now they're not in the right order for OpenAI because OpenAI expects the linear structure, chronological linear structure of the messages as sent through to their API. So this is now putting them in the wrong order. So here's what you need to do. Well, yeah, this is mainly because if I go back, we don't have items from end, we have items from. So I suppose one workaround could be if you know how many messages are in the conversation, say there's 50 messages in the conversation and you want to send the last 10 messages, then you could do 50 minus 10 and then you could say items from 40. But that's not great because you might not be keeping account of all the messages in the conversation. So here is another thing that you can do. We are simply going to say that it is in reverse order. So now we do have the last 10 messages, but they are then presented newest to oldest. They need to be oldest to newest. So we add in an additional, sorry, I'll put in the number, items until 10. And then we sort them by creation date and we put them back into oldest to newest. Now this isn't ideal because we're manipulating the data in Bubble. It's going to cost workload units to kind of sort it one way and then sort it another way. But I think it's not elegant, but it is the most elegant solution we've got. And then we can say format as text. And in here, I'm not doing my usual trick because that's copying dynamic data into it. I want to copy and paste in, I want to paste in the whole lot that I had, add in my delimiter again. So that's it. We sort it one way, we get 10. We sort it the other way, and then we express it's formatted as text. That, to me, and I'd love to hear in the comments if there is a better way to do it, is how we can limit messages based on, say, the last 10 messages. Or, you can, of course, if you want to absorb the cost, you could send the last 1,000 messages to OpenAI. Just remember that your costs are going to go up because all of those 1,000 form a growing, exponentially growing context window, so your costs are going to go up as you do that. If you've got any questions, please leave a comment below. If you want my one-to-one support on your Bubble app, you can always book a one-to-one Bubble coaching call with me.